All right, what's up, everybody? It's What the F Happened, a weekly show where we rant, we rave, and we're going to argue all about this craziness going on in the market. So today's topics are far and wide, but most importantly, is the stock market going to keep on this bullish run, or are we going to have a pullback? Is it time to consider crypto? Is it time to consider gold and precious metals? Should you be buying real estate, or should you just be sitting on the damn sidelines waiting for the real opportunity instead of this mess, this smoke and mirror? So join us for this week. We're going to get serious. We're going to get arguing with you, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Be right back. All right, we're back at it. What the F happened? So I'm joined here with my partner in crime, Stephen Nagy, or commonly known as the Snaggy. And Stephen, who else are we on with us today?
Hey, good morning, Chris. Fun Thanksgiving week here we're having right now. So I invited a good friend of mine I've known for many, many years, Dave Payergent, an expert investor and real big in the real estate game and really just the financial markets, on to share some of his opinions on some of the chaos and craziness we're seeing in the markets right now. And kind of what I wanted to concentrate for this Thanksgiving topic today was, what can we give back to you to make sure that you're protecting your money and you're ready for the upcoming changes that we're going to see? So how's it going, Dave?
Hey, thank you guys very much for having me on.
Absolutely.
Going great. Busy morning over here as well. We're getting ready to go down to Kentucky today, and we're going to some horse race thing for Thanksgiving. So I hopefully can make more money in the horse track than the stock market's doing today. I think the Dow's down like 182 points. I think everything's red. The Nasdaq's been bleeding out the last couple days, as you guys know. So yeah, we can get into that, but I'm doing great. And yes, the market's definitely it's a crazy time to be in the markets for sure.
Yeah, but you know what? People keep thinking it's just going to keep going to the moon, and we're just going to keep making these returns, and the Fed's going to keep printing money, which they probably will, and nothing's ever going to go down. We're never going to see the Great Depression again or anything like it. We're never going to see 2008 recession again because, hey, the government's got the keys to the printing press, and they're just going to keep everything honky-dory. They're just going to keep handing out money, and it's all going to be good, right? Fucking
so that's
wrong.
Exactly what everybody.
What did you live on? Excuse my language, and there's going to be a lot of swearing today. It's a day before Thanksgiving. I can't swear on Thanksgiving Day, so I got to get it all out of me today. So you guys just get used to it, and if you can't handle the cussing, get out of the kitchen. What do we got, Stephen?
Listen, when the Dollar Tree has to make their new standard $1.25, shit's hit the fucking fan in the United States, my man.
The Dollar Tree says it's $1. Yeah. How does that work from a business strategy and a brand marketing strategy? So we're the Dollar Tree where everything's $1, but now we got to change our name and do $1 plus a quarter tree. I mean, that just does not flow well for branding at all. David, what do you think about that?
So that's really funny. I didn't realize that headline. I saw that on Twitter and I thought it was a joke, that $1.25. I didn't know that was they were actually changing their name. So it's just crazy. It's a crazy time because yes, inflation is real. They've printed trillions and trillions of dollars, and but the dollar's strong. Like if you followed the Dixie, the DXY, it's at like a year-long high. It's at 96 like and a half today or something. And that's keeping, oil prices, we've dipped below 80 a barrel, and gold is getting beat up right now as well. I think we're going to get into some gold stuff, but it's just like this crazy time. They're printing all this money. Prices are clearly going up, but it seems like the markets still have faith in the Fed. And I think you kind of alluded to that a little bit, where it's like people still believe the Fed is going to do the right thing, which is jack interest rates to control this inflation. But anyone who follows this stuff knows they can't jack the rates. They're definitely in a rock and a hard place. They can't jack the rates. They're going to, the tapering has already started of their asset purchase program. But realistically, to control this inflation, we don't have a hawkish Fed chair like Paul Volcker from the 70s and 80s that would jack the rates up to. He took the rates to 20% to control the inflation at that time. If they even jack the rates to, we're at 0% right now. We're at 0%. And even a rate hike up to 1%, 2%. Look what the NASDAQ is doing the last several days. And they're pricing in these little tiny rate hikes. And that's just not good for these speculation plays, these growth plays. They all get obliterated when people are pulling their money out of the growth and speculation and going more towards the value play, which is, in my opinion, the worst investment, which is U.S. Treasuries. But that's what's happening right now. People have faith in the Fed, but they shouldn't. It's, they're not going to stop printing money. They can't. As soon as they allude to that they're going to start, stopping printing money, a new crisis will come. This is what it is. It's a bubble. It's a bust. It's a bubble. It's a bust. And it's all fueled by debt. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, so that's the things. And I think you said a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, when you've got the Dollar Tree now becoming $1.25, you mentioned you saw a Twitter post and you actually had to ask yourself, is this real? Well, that has a lot to be said about like the confidence in the news and in the media and in all the stuff that we see out there. Like, is there any confidence in any news out there, from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram to TikTok to, I don't know, the fake news, if you will? I mean, what do you believe? I mean, is it really changing its name? I mean, is that article real? Was TikTok right? I mean, dude, it's just getting to the bottom of what's real and what's not is really a difficult thing, which is why the metaverse is probably going to work, because it's it's almost like, you ever see the movie The Matrix? You remember the part in The Matrix where the guy who betrays everybody, he's sitting there and he's like, I just want to live where I eat steak and drink wine, and I just want to forget about all this.
I don't want to remember nothing. Nothing. You understand? I don't want to be rich.
Because he was living in, pain, and he was living in suffering, but he just wanted the easy life, which was, basically give up everything. I mean, you remember that movie, and that's kind of where we're at, like the truth hurts. And the truth is going to result in pain. It's going to result in suffering. It's going to result in hard decisions. And then there's the other side where you can live in an alternative reality, metaverse, if you will, where they're now selling real estate inside the virtual reality, and they're actually buying real estate for real dollars. Steven, hit that for a second, because that's
we'll definitely get to the metaverse. I want to get there, but let's lead up to it, because sticking on inflation and what's going on with the printing of money and everything like that. So Biden just had to nominate, who he wanted to run the Federal Reserve. So the chair is called the chairman. It's been Jerome Powell for the last 4 years. And Biden came out Monday and said he's going to renominate Jerome Powell to continue to lead the Fed. So there's a lot to talk about there, because if the Fed's number one job is to control inflation and jobs in this country, but inflation is now, and they shoot for a 2% target, but inflation is now at 6.4% and real inflation is double digits. Why are we keeping the same guy in charge that has made the decisions that have led us to 6.4% inflation? So what was the alternatives? And somebody, this Lara Bernard, who they went ahead and nominated as the vice chairwoman, she was, kind of right there to maybe lead the Fed. But a lot of people were saying she has very, how do I put it, progressive views on money and what the Fed should do.
Dovish.
So it's like the best of two worst scenarios, right? So now we're just going to continue doing what we've been doing that isn't exactly leading to a great place. So what is happening? Is that a good decision? Should something different have happened? What do you guys think about that?
If I may comment on that, I think it was the smartest political move for the current administration, Joe Biden, to do, because if shit hits the fan, then he could just blame that Jay Powell was a Trump guy. So if you guys remember, Trump is the guy that actually nominated Jay Powell. Right. So I think it's a political move for Biden to leave him in there. This way, if shit hits the fan, he could be like, it wasn't my fault. I just left the same guy. It was Trump's fault. That's what these politicians do. They blame each other for everything. But if he was to change out and put in Brainerd instead of Jay Powell, and then shit hit the fan, it would have looked a lot worse for him. So I do think it's just a political move.
Man, I think that's an interesting take on it that I guess my mind never went there, but that makes every bit of sense because we all know that the markets are going to crash. It's just a matter of when. I mean, you can't keep on this crazy path, this hockey stick, if you will, in creating all these bubbles. You know, you print money, it creates bubbles. Eventually, every bubble pops. Blow a balloon up and tell me if that balloon it's going to pop. Sure, it might get bigger and bigger. And you know, how many of you, when you were a kid, kept doing that and you're like, oh my God, I can still blow it up. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. And you're like, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden it pops. And I think by them electing, you know, JP, if you will, in there, I think that is the perfect scapegoat, because then they can just say, well, see, we told you so. This is Trump's guy. And now all of a sudden it just blew up. And that's because it's his fault. It's not his fault. They're literally walking the freaking plank right now. There's nowhere for them to go. We are in Japan's like situation to the T, where they can't raise rates. They have to raise rates because inflation's running out. So the only answer, and I hate to say this, but the only answer or the only solution they're going to have, which is the one that should have happened a while ago, is let the whole thing just pop and let it all fall down and let the cards fall where they are. And then we'll come in and we'll save everything because we'll print more money and we'll do all this stuff. And that's the political play. We have gotten away from reality. And now everything that is done is just for votes. It's like, how do we get reelected? How do we get voted? Well, let's crash COVID got us elected in this because that's how we played this. Then fear kept us in this control phase. Then all of a sudden, when people stop like wanting to be controlled. And for any of you that are watching this, like if you can't see that you're being controlled, here in Erie County, I gotta mention this. This is bullshit. In Erie County, we now are on a 4-phase like COVID control system, where now in public places, restaurants, bars, gyms, shopping centers, everywhere, okay, you have to wear a mask. So every day I go to the gym and I say, fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask. And it's not because I don't care about like trying to protect other people. I'm sick of this control bullshit. Phase 2, mandatory vaccinations. Well, all right. So if that happens, you know what? My house is going to become a really popular place because the bar and the pool table is going to get used a lot. I'm not going anywhere. And then like phase 4 and 5 or 3 and 4, I don't even know what they are, but like, it's a control tactic. When that control doesn't work, they have to turn to the next thing. And what is the next thing going to be? They'll crash the markets. They can do it, folks. Like if you don't understand the Federal Reserve, and it's not owned by the U.S. government, it's its own entity. Read The Creature from Jekyll Island or Secrets of the Federal Reserve. There's all sorts of books that explain this. Read them, and you will understand what is going on and how this is just one puppeteering thing. The interest rates, the markets, the bubbles, the printing, it's all interconnected. And today it's not for the right reasons, which all of you think it's, so that, global warming, or, so that we can, help people that need money and tax the rich. The rich know how not to pay taxes legally. They are the informed. You are the uninformed. So if that's the play, you're sheeple. I'm sorry. Like you just don't even get what's going on out there. That to me is the most logical play. That card that they're gonna play. I don't know, man. I'm going in circles here, but yeah, I'm just pissed off, man. If you can't tell, I'm just sick of this. I'm just sick of it all.
And it's like that across the board, where it's all about, they say one thing, but then something else happens in the back. And, right now we have a huge push right now for climate change and to go green and to get rid of gas and oil and fossil fuels and move to all electric, which we've talked about that in the past. Like, how does that even work? Like, how do you think the electricity is created, right? But, fossil fuels have completely changed this entire world and brought so many third world countries into the real world. And, all the positives that fossil fuels and oil have done with us over the years. And I get the switch to wanting to, make the world a better place. But this hardcore push we have right now is just insane. And I just want to give you guys one example and then talk about it a little bit. But, we have like Biden's energy secretary, what's her name? Granholm. She's out there in videos singing about, which I can play this if you want, but she's singing about ending gas and fossil fuels, completely eliminating them from the planet. But then you hear, part of what, Biden said about renominating Jay Powell was that he's going to be more conscious of, climate issues when he makes Fed policy, which those two fucking things should be completely separated, like money and car.
Yeah.
Come on. But then you have Biden coming on yesterday, bragging about how he's going to release 50 million barrels from the strategic oil reserve to try and help with gas prices, which that ain't going to happen, first off. But it makes you wonder, like, if he's doing this and releasing all this oil that's for emergencies, are they trying to deplete the reserves to where we just don't have any, and then we are forced to go to electric? Or why is there so many different things that are being said and things that are happening in the real world going on right now?
I think you're right. I think it's an agenda, like global warming and all this. I mean, if anyone, so here's the thing, it's all cyclical. Dave, I love your take on this. If you all remember Al Gore, the same thing happened back then. Remember, he made those really powerful videos before social media, and they took hold, and it was a political play. Like, was there global warming? There's always global warming. The world is always heating up or cooling down. It's been going on like this since, God, the beginning of the world's creation, when God actually created it. Like, it's nothing new. Are we, escalating the global warming? Yeah. Is electric cars going to fix the problem? Fuck no. It takes more energy to make the batteries than it does to make a gas-powered car. It's an agenda, folks. It's a way to push through infrastructure bills where a bunch of, trillions of dollars just got printed. And where does that money go? I'll tell you what, there's no shovel-ready jobs. If you haven't been paying attention, there are no shovel-ready projects that are going to flip the switch and all of a sudden millions of people are going to get jobs for making hundreds of thousands of dollars to build these roads, these bridges, and everything. Have you ever tried to remodel your kitchen or replace something in your house, and you go down and try to get a building permit, and then they send something off to all your neighbors, and your neighbors are like, nope, I don't want him to paint his yellow house brown or his yellow house gray or that. No, they're going to fight it. There's bureaucratic red tape that's going to happen in this. So you know who's going to get a lot of that infrastructure money? Not you, folks. You know who's going to get it? The lobbyists, the consultants, and the architects, and the attorneys. It's been like this forever. You can't just go out and be like, oh, we got all this money, let's build bridges. No, you have to get permits. Oh, let's go out and let's build windmills. Nope, you got to go to the neighbors and say, hey, what do you think about a giant windmill factory behind your house? You cool with that? Fuck no, they're not cool with that. They're not going to allow it. It's going to go through the red tape. The consultants, the engineers, the attorneys get the majority of the money, and they're like, hey, we tried. We tried. Fuck this, man. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, you really did hit the nail on the head. In fact, I wrote down Al Gore, and then you brought it up. And then you mentioned the infrastructure bill, which I want to get into some crazy language in the infrastructure bill if we can. But that's exactly right. So all of these bills, every single bill is basically 30,000 pages of fine print. And, you guys have heard the term before, there's a lot of pork in these bills, right?
Hey, Dave.
And that's exactly what it does. It serves their special interests. So when it's like, let's go green, you're right. Al Gore pushed for this. Did you guys realize he was heavily involved with contracts with a SPAC company, special purpose acquisition company? He's now Al Gore's worth over $200 million. Right. So what they do is they push these agendas, but then they have trades going on, and it's totally legal for them to trade in the stock market. Nancy Pelosi's worth $40 million, guys. So they push the law. They write these things into legislation that serve their own special interests, lobbyists, and stock portfolio. But the infrastructure bill, and then they write all these laws in. I mean, a great example is like the Patriot Act. Remember the Patriot Act? And that was, George W. Bush and all of them, the red and the blue, write all these bills. And what they do is they serve their own pocketbook and they take Americans' rights away. But the Patriot Act is like the least patriotic act you could ever imagine because it gave the government the ability to spy on us legally. The infrastructure bill is full of all this little these little things to take our rights away. Are you guys familiar with the language in the infrastructure bill on how it affects crypto? Have you guys heard of this at all?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about it, but expand a little bit.
Sure. So there's a provision in the infrastructure bill that basically, is going to, it's kind of like know your customer laws or anti-money laundering laws, like SEC type of stuff, where anyone who's involved in a crypto trade above $10,000 or more, and that includes NFTs, is going to need to file a report. I believe the form is Form 8300. And basically, you got to put your name in, you got to put your social security number in. It's really taking away from the whole decentralization theme that crypto was originally built around in 2011 after the, Occupy Wall Street bank bailout, the whole deal. But what they're making everybody do is really disclose all parties involved in any crypto transaction of $10,000 or more. And then there's huge penalties if you don't comply. Basically, the penalty is $25,000 or 5 years in prison for not disclosing. It's crazy, right? So this is, I believe, obviously the Fed, they don't like competition. I believe the Fed is not, they're a big fan of crypto. Why do they want anyone using a different currency than their own? They want to control the whole thing. They don't want any competition, right?
Bingo.
So I believe, utilizing these bills and whatnot is just ways to like slice by slice kind of kill crypto and take it away from what it was originally created to do. And it's just the government and the Fed's way of kind of eliminating the competition.
Well,
Damn,
and
dude.
Dave,
Now I know why we brought you on here.
Hey, Dave and Chris, real fast. I just want to say this, like, we don't want to talk politics on this show at all. Like, politics is a shitty subject. People are very opinionated about it, but what drives what happens in the markets, what drives real estate, what drives your retirement, what drives finance, what drives taxes is politics. So it's one of those double-edged swords where you want to stay away from it, but you're sucked in, because if you don't understand what's going on in the political landscape, you're not going to understand what's going to happen with your finances and your financial future. And that's one of the things that I love about this show is we're able to kind of bring the two together to show you what is going on in the real world, not what you're being told by the talking heads on TV, but what's actually happening and how that's actually going to affect your life. And that's what I love about this show.
Absolutely.
Steven, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chris, but if I may comment, and then Chris, I'd like to hear your take as well. But, you said what drives the markets, what drives, the stock market and everything. It's actually not politics. It's not red or blue. They're all out to just take our rights away. I mean, look at the Patriot Act was passed under a red president. And then you got the infrastructure bill and all these bills. U.S. CARES Act was under Trump. This is a lot of pork in that bill too, guys. But what really drives the markets is not politics. It's this credit. It's all credit. Everything is propped up by debt. So we were in the Dominican Republic recently, and we were driving from our beautiful 5-star resort to the airport, and everything between the 5-star resort and the airport is a third world country, and it looks terrible. And my better half is looking, oh my gosh, she says, look at all these unfinished buildings. Look at this rebar, look at this concrete. And I said, you know why? Because these people don't have a central bank and they don't have a credit system. Everything in America is debt. You want money, you go down to the bank and get it. You go to a third world country, you actually have to save up and earn. You save up all year. Okay, this year we're going to lay the foundation. Maybe next year we can put the walls up. Maybe the year after that we can put the roof up. That's a real economy. Everything is propped up by debt. So when you say what drives these markets, it's not red or blue. That's all government is bad. We need a little government, but the government's way too big. And I like, to think Republicans right now, there's no more conservatives on Capitol Hill. The conservatives are gone, right? So the Republicans are the new Democrats. Democrats are the new socialists, and it's all for their own special interests. But ultimately, everybody's just getting their rights taken away from them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let's go to the audience here and see what they think here. Sorry, Red Niz, that was Dave talking. I just didn't show you the other screen. We're working on the technology to be able to stream TikTok, Instagram, and all of our other channels, Facebook, YouTube, which is what we're streaming on now. But the technology is not quite there, so we're working on it. But, one thing that was put up here from Bill Ransom, he came in from YouTube. He said, look at California's high-speed rail. I mean, some of you don't remember this, but I certainly do. The high-speed rail was a big deal. It would have solved a lot of problems, and billions were spent on the high-speed rail. And I remember not 1 foot of rail was ever laid because of bureaucracy, because of, they couldn't get the permits, they couldn't get it through. Folks, that happens every day. But, I love TikTok because, right, when you make a TikTok video, you got 30, 60, or now 3 minutes to make the video. And when you're doing that, the key to making successful TikTok videos is like 5-second bursts. Like talk at it for 5 seconds here about one topic, another one here. We literally have gone from like the capacity to like understand things, in a longer form to now like we need everything in bite-sized little pieces to be entertained. It's gone from reality to entertainment. Heck, that's what metaverse will be, and the funny thing about that is we seem to forget about all the things that happen. We forgot about that high-speed rail that Bill's talking about. We forget about all the other billions of dollars that add up to trillions of dollars that they have printed that have gone nowhere. except for back to their lobbyists, back to their political interest, and back to the people that helped get them elected. Pharmaceutical, all those companies, where do you think they put a lot of their dollars? Lobbying, lobbyist interest to get people elected so that then the money flows back to them because of specific things that get done. Like, folks, it's all interconnected. So, Dave, you're absolutely correct. It's not red or blue. They just make it that. They pair us together. It's not black or white. It's not vax versus unvax. It's a political agenda. And here's the bad news to that. You guys can study history. You can look at Rome. You can look at anyone in history, including Babylon. All of those empires, which were the greatest in the world, all fell. All of their currencies, which were the greatest in the world, all crashed. Listen, folks, I hate to say this, but when you find a way to beat, in this case, democracy, by buying votes and figuring out how to get people to vote somebody in for reasons that aren't really related to actual votes, you've lost democracy. It's gone. And it will fall, and it will crash, and eventually the US dollar will crash, not probably in our lifetimes, because we still are the nicest house in a shitty neighborhood, but like, this is the reality. So all this other stuff that's going around outside of you is just noise. It's just noise to keep you entertained so that there's something going on over here, and they're like, hey, over here. It's like a cat. You ever want to get a cat's attention? You just throw like a mouse over in the corner or some catnip, and then the cat's not scratching your furniture or doing those things. We're the same way. We're just a cat that wants to be entertained with some catnip, and they got lots of catnip. So when you really get down to it, then if you unplug from the noise, that's where the pain and the suffering is. And you know what? I got bad news. That's where you should be. You should want the pain right now. You should want the suffering right now, because you know what happens after the pain and suffering if you choose that path? Freedom, financial freedom, the life you've always dreamed. But you got to go through the pain first to get to that. And this country needs to go through the pain first to get to where we need to be. The problem is that probably will never happen. We will never go back to Austrian economics. Yes.
Yeah, real fast. You guys were talking, Dave, earlier. Nancy, mentioned Nancy Pelosi, and you're talking about how these politicians out there in the lobbies, the money always flows back to them, and that's a lot going on with the rail. And we had Al Gore. It happens over and over with politicians, right? So, guess whose home this is right here? It's about 3-4 miles from my house. It's under contract right now. Guess who just purchased this home? $25 million from the Atlantic Ocean in Jupiter Island, Florida. Anybody want to guess? Yours truly, Nancy Pelosi. Yep, yeah, Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi just purchased this home on Jupiter Island for $25 million. You tell me what's going on.
Her husband runs a hedge fund. He's very, so it's just really crazy. Chris, you're really nailing it as far as, we need to go through the pain. If we truly wanted to heal our economy, we're not a robust economy. We're not. It feels that way because of all the credit and, really what's happening. The most robust economy we've ever had in the United States is in the 20s. Why was the economy robust? Is the Industrial Revolution, because there was the least amount of government, least amount of regulation. The free market was able to thrive, right? When put in that environment, that's where all the innovation comes from. In the 20s. But what has happened since then is the government steps in and just increases regulation and taxation, and it forces businesses to outsource their productivity. So what is happening right now is, our trade deficit is like $90 billion a month. Think about that. We are importing $90 billion worth of stuff more than we export. It didn't used to be that way. In the 20s, we were the biggest creditor nation. Now we're the biggest debtor nation. And the crash that we're talking about, yes, Babylon does fall. Yes, the Roman Empire does fall. Everything happens. And the crash that we're referring to is going to be a crash in the US dollar. And when the rest of the world wakes up to the fact that we are not productive, the biggest thing that we produce is more US dollars. And when they stop having value in the US dollar, when they, I don't know that the US dollar is not going to be the global reserve currency, but when the rest of the world catches on to the fact that they're going to work every single day producing so we could print more dollars and then buy their production, when they catch on to the fact that they're basically being scammed, that's when we're going to see some real volatility in the US dollar. And that's when I think gold is the most bullish play in that environment.
Yeah, and there's a lot of economists that talk about this. I read a lot of books. what is it, next Great Depression and all these, Jim Rickards talks
I'm
a lot about
huge Jim
gold.
Rickards fan, Chris. He's
I could tell because you hate treasuries and you love gold. So I already knew what books you were reading. See,
I got them
that's the
all
thing.
over here. Yeah.
When you're on the informed, you kind of can tell what economists are saying, what's the basis for them, and who studies what history. And there's truth to all of it. Okay, like in the short run, I would probably say U.S. treasuries are a great store of capital, but short run, like you can't play that long. As soon as interest rates get pulled, when the market crashes, you got to exit U.S. treasuries, but you'll make a bunch of money doing that. That's, what Harry Dent Jr. talks. I play that game. I think gold is probably one of the best long-term plays or precious metals of sorts because it is a tangible substance. It's something that can be used for exchange. Even right now, it's not allowed to be used for exchange, quote unquote, because it's not used as the U.S. currency. But back in the day, it was, and then they started clipping corners, and then all of a sudden that wasn't it. But gold is always going to be the one thing because it is tangible. And that's where I struggle a little bit with crypto. Crypto has no tangible asset behind it. It has no fundamentals. It probably will be the future, but it will be the future that replaces the US dollar, which the US dollar is already fiat. It's not even real. It's based on the credit. It's based on the full faith and credit of the US government. When you lose the full faith and credit of the US government, the US dollar is done. And then if the U.S. comes up with a digital currency, and mark my word, they will, and it will not be Bitcoin. They will not adopt Bitcoin or make Bitcoin because they can't control it. When they come up with the digital currency, you'll have to trade in your Bitcoin or coins or whatever digital coins for this U.S. currency in order to exchange it for diapers, for food, for water, for the things that we need. You can't exchange Bitcoin for the things you need to live. So when you're starving and you've got a big wallet full of Bitcoin, please tell me how you're going to use your Bitcoin to go buy food and water and shelter for your family. You can't. And some people are like, I convert it to cash. That's the problem. Like it's still tied to this fiat currency. Like there is no means of exchange. Gold, on the other hand, or silver or platinum, you could technically slice a little corner off and go and use the barter system. That's not dead and it never will be. Sorry to go on this, but folks, when you really think of like, this is some doomsday shit, but are we going to see it in our lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how old you are. Some of you younger folks more than likely will see some of this happen in your lifetime. Okay, but you got to think, are you in this for the short game, the long game, a mix of both? And if you're in it for the mix of both, you better be playing both games. You better be stocking up on some tangible assets, whether it's real estate or gold or silver, and maybe playing the short game. Maybe you are playing Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other things. Maybe you are playing the U.S. Treasury game because you understand the inverse relationships to interest rates and how much money can be made on a guaranteed risk-free basis. Like you just have to understand this stuff. But the problem is the average person, and I don't mean to pick on every one of you watching this, do not know any of this. I do because I was in Wall Street and I'm a nerd. I study history to the point where like sometimes I ask myself, why do I want to know this shit? Because it's boring as hell. I study economics, boring as hell. It's not entertainment. It's not fun. It's painful to study. It sucks to study. But you know what? It prepares you. And I just want to be prepared. And it sounds like Dave wants to be prepared. And I know Steven's already prepared. So you just got to figure out, like, where are you going to be? And Dave, if I may, and Steven, I know this is way off topic. We got a lot of other stuff. But, I've got this book that I'm writing. It's going to take me a year to write this thing. But it's called The Laws of Wealth. If you just understand the laws to building wealth, these laws have been around since before Christ. Okay, these are not buying Bitcoin, buying gold. They're laws. And if you follow the laws, you can never, ever, ever not find your way to wealth unless you quit. And I've been doing something on Instagram, Insta stories. Like every morning I do an Insta story. It's a boring walk. I walk from my truck into the building, right past an ugly salt pile. You never can miss the setting. And I talk about these laws of wealth from 1 to 6. And then after you understand the laws of wealth and you drill them in and you study them and you apply them, then there are 10 rules to prosperity. Listen, folks, like I can't paint a clear picture on how you can be wealthy other than this. The book will be out inside of the next 6 months to a year. But like, if you want to know it, join me on Instagram. Follow my YouTube stuff, okay? At the Chris Naugle. I post all of this there. Join us for the wealth webinar. We do every single Wednesday. I talk about the laws of wealth all the time. But the problem is too many of you want to live in the uninformed world because it's easy. It's boring. Okay, it doesn't really require you to actually think and do anything. Everything's just handed to you. Netflix always has a new program on. The government's always telling you a new lie. There's always a new thing on the news about something that can distract you. If that's the world you want, keep living it. It's fine. But when the whole shit crumbles, what you will do is bury your head in the sand and wait for it all to pass, and you'll have your hand out waiting for someone to give you something. That's where you belong. Your sheep will go. Like, we don't need you. But then there's the some that want to be in the informed, okay, that want to know what's coming, and that's where the pain is. But that's also where you're prepared so that when it does happen, you can raise the torch and you can lead others, which is the most important thing. It's one of the laws. Help others, give to others, solve others' problems. You can lead other people to freedom, to safety. Pick a side, pick a pill, red or blue. I don't care which one you pick, but whatever one you pick determines what you're going to do in the future. All of this stuff that we talk about, we're ranting, we're raving, we're talking about the markets. It's all smoke and mirrors right now. If you can't see that everything's bubbled, everything, you're blind and you will lose all your wealth. Mark my word. All right, I'm done. You guys should just talk the rest because that was way too much.
I think you're spot on. I like your background in just the Austrian economics, the Ludwig von Mises, and it's the opposite of Keynesian economics. This is what you study. This is what I read about as well. I think we probably could go through our bookshelves and see a lot of similar influences. So thank you for that.
Yeah, but most people will never understand or even know what Austrian economics is. They won't even understand what Keynesian economics is. And maybe right now they don't even know what modern monetary theory is, but look around. That's what's happening.
40% Oh, go ahead. And excuse me, go ahead. One moment. I got to check on a 7-year-old. I'll be right back. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So I was going to say, we talk a lot about, what's going on right now. I want to talk a little bit about, what we can be doing to help. We talked a little bit about maybe gold is good for long-term, to avoid a collapse. Maybe crypto is a great place to, right now to trade up and down. But whenever Dave gets back, I did want to talk a little bit about real estate, Chris.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
I know Dave is still very, very big in real estate investing right now. He's buying lots and lots of homes. Chris, I know you've sold a lot of your long-term holds, but you've just recently brought 2 or 3 new deals back into the private money club that you're looking to get funded to do. I don't know if you're doing flips with it or long-term holds, but I want to talk a little bit about real estate. And do you guys think real estate is still a good play right now? The prices are very, very high. So is it a good time to get in? Or because again, Chris had a bunch of real estate, Dave, and he sold a bunch of it, but now he's starting to buy again right now, or bringing deals into the private money club. So just want to hear your opinions on that.
Sure. All right. If I may go first, because I'm going to keep it really short. I am selling most of my rental portfolio. I had 91 doors and I now have 18. I have 3 properties under basically one already under construction, which will be sold. And it was a rental that we took it from a 2-unit down to a single unit because over there by the college, it's student housing. You make more money off of a house with more bedrooms, but I'm going to sell it. And then these 2 properties that I just brought to the private money club for funding. Okay. Both of them are flips. Why did I buy them? Because just like my friend Justin Colby, who just joined us, I know how to buy properties at a value. But I'm not doing nearly as many because it's so freaking hard to find properties at the right price. Like I'm really good at real estate. I like to think of myself as an expert. I've been doing enough of it. I've done hundreds of flips. I got a lot of experience. I can't find deals. I can't. And I could find a deal if I allowed myself to bend my rules, but I refuse to do that. I have set buying rules. I don't break them. If a deal falls in line with my rules, which in today's world, my rules, everybody would say that you're never going to get a deal. You're absolutely right. I'm not. And I'm happy that I never get a deal because I follow the rules, which means when I do get 1, or in this case 2, guess what happens? I make a lot of fucking money. And that's the name of the game. I'm not in real estate for a popularity contest. I'm not in real estate to sell a coaching program. No disrespect to anyone that does that. That's very needed. That's how I got into real estate, but that's not my agenda. I'm in real estate for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Tax deductions first and foremost, and to make freaking money. That's it. If it doesn't fit one of those two categories, those little square boxes, I could care less about real estate. That's my only play. Your play might be different. Now, just to wrap my statement up, that's my plan. Yours can be different. I think real estate is and always will be the single best investment anyone can make. I think it's tangible. I think it can be leveraged. There's multiple exit streams. You can create income from it. It's the best investment on earth, hands down. But you can also fuck it up pretty good, as most people did in 2006 and 7. And I hate to say it, like most people are today. They just don't realize they fucked up yet. But I bet you if you were in 07 and you were buying real estate and everything looked perfect and you were flipping and making money, I bet you never thought anything was being messed up until you got punched in the face, didn't you? Yep. I know more people in 2008 that went bankrupt, and these were massive players. I just choose to not go down that path. I already did it once. I already failed in 08. I just don't want to do it again. So therefore, that's my play. That's how I'm doing it. Dave, I'd love to hear your take on it.
So I'm clearly like the most bullish real estate guy. It's my full-time business. We have, hundreds of rental properties. We flip over 100 properties a year. I started real estate in 05, and I'm one of those people who went bankrupt in 08, so I definitely have been around the block. And what you're saying is exactly right. Real estate is the best investment. And this is why I'm so bullish on it, because you could use the leverage. We have interest rates at we're getting rates in the 4s for our refinances right now. We're refining everything. We're putting 30-year money on everything simply because, if we're playing the inflation trade, the dollars that we're using to pay back our mortgage 5 years from now, these dollars will be worth less, but our payment is fixed, right? So I love using low interest, long-term debt to secure an asset that's going to produce a positive cash flow. And then the tax benefits that come along with real estate, we use the tax benefits from our rentals to basically deduct against our taxes against our flipping business, because that's highly taxed, right? This is how you play the real estate game. But you nailed it, Chris. It's like, look, if you don't know how to buy right in anything, in stocks and, real estate, if you make your money when you buy, you get paid when you sell or when you rent out and when you dispose of an asset. But if you buy wrong, if you don't know how to buy off-market properties, if you don't know how to negotiate off-market properties, that's what we do. We are going after inherited properties. Just spoke to a seller this morning of somebody, we bought their property. We got a testimonial from them, but we are going completely after people who have back taxes, divorce. We go to the market. We're not driving around with a realtor, and I love my realtors, and I'm a licensed realtor as well, so no hate there, but we're not driving around with a realtor who has never bought a property themselves, who doesn't own a rental portfolio, paying too much. They just want to make a commission off you. You got to go to the market, buy these things off market and buy them right. And then I know you guys are, you do a lot with private money. So do I. What we do, we find these off-market properties, negotiate great deals. We're still buying these things at 50, 60 cents on the dollar. We don't find them in abundance. We're not doing a ton of them. I mean, we used to buy way more houses. We built our portfolio when it was easier to buy houses, but the deals are still out there. You got to know how to go after these off-market deals and then use a private money loan to buy this property, get it rehabbed, and then refinance it with long-term low interest debt. I think it's the best inflation hedge that's out there. Utilize the low interest rates, utilize the tax benefits. And then, what I'm very excited about, and we have 3 of them going on right now, is we're doing this with Airbnbs. So I think it's the biggest cash flow play. We were running the numbers, Chris and Steven, and one Airbnb is equivalent to 5 rental properties as far as net cash flow. But no exit strategy is going to serve you at all if you pay too much for an asset. You got to know how to buy them right and stick to your buy box, stick to your rules, as you were saying, Chris, and don't deter from your plan.
Oh man, well said, Steven. You're a real estate guy. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, I'm getting more and more mortgage brokers and lenders that are reaching out to me saying, hey, we have this new program and this other new program that's out. And all of it is starting to look like 06 and 07. It's a lot of no income, stated income loans, a lot of things that don't require any kind of background check, lower credit scores, lower money down. So I'm just starting to see more and more leverage. And when I see more and more leverage and people buying properties, especially investment properties, a lot of these programs are geared for investment homes at these very, very high prices, people over leveraging themselves. It starts to worry me that at some point we're going to see a lot of foreclosures start to hit the market if anything starts to change. And I think that at some point interest rates will have to come back up, as we talked about earlier. That's driving all this inflation. They're going to have to do something with that. And I think when these rates start to come up, I do think we're going to start to see a slowdown in the markets. And then where it goes from there, I think it'll depend on a lot. But it's, Larry Steinhaus is commenting in, who's another real big real estate guy in the Philadelphia area with investorschooling.com. And he's saying, bring him on. He wants to talk a little real estate. So maybe we can do that coming up, Chris, with him. But one question I did want to ask around the real estate front is, what do you guys think about virtual real estate? It seems to be one of the hot commodities right now. We're starting to see people buying actual virtual real estate within the metaverse. This was an article from last month in October that the highest selling virtual plot just went for a little over $1 million. And then I saw an article yesterday that I'll put up here in a second that another real estate plot just sold for $2.4 million. So there's real money going into virtual real estate right now. Would you guys buy that?
No.
Only if it's waterfront, Stephen. And then if I can surf and there's waterfront, sign me up, man. I'll put some money into that.
Put on those virtual goggles and go surfing, man. I don't know, dude.
So and this is what you see with the meme stocks.
Surf's up, bro.
This is what you see with crypto. It's all pure speculation. The only reason you would buy a piece of virtual real estate is if you thought you can sell it to somebody else for more. It doesn't produce rent. It doesn't produce interest. There's no use case. You can't go live in it. You can't go keep yourself dry if it's raining outside. It's pure speculation. So me personally, I'm a value investor and I'm a long-term guy. So I would stay clear of it. But if somebody can trade it and if somebody can make money, power to the people, go ahead. I don't hate on crypto investors. I'm not bullish on crypto. I just think it's pure speculation. But if somebody can trade it and make a good living for themselves, all the power to you. Go for it. I would stay clear of it, though, personally.
Absolutely. I'm always going to say real estate's the greatest investment on earth, but I'm also going to say that just like any other investment, it comes down to the buy. You can't make money in real estate if you don't buy it right. I mean, in today's world, I think that, no matter what you're doing, unless you know how to find lucrative off-market deals, you're overpaying in a roundabout sense. You're buying at the top. I mean, there's no question about that. Now, that's fine. If you got a strategy like Dave where, he's playing the long game, the rental game, the income game, he'll do just fine. If the whole thing crashes like it did in 2008, I don't think you're going to see that. But let's just say it did. It doesn't change his, he still puts food on the table. He still continues to live the life, drive nice cars, do nice things because he's got the income. If the value of his property drops, he just loses the exit strategy, but he still has the income play. So that's the way to play real estate right now. I'm flipping because I'm basically trying to squeak out these last little bits of gains in the real estate market before the market does start to soften and go down. And when it does, it will just continue to keep going because investor confidence will continue to weaken. When investor confidence goes, there goes the markets. The markets are being held up by, like Dave said, credit, the government printing money, and secondarily, and most importantly, investor confidence. And how do I know that? It's so easy. I think just yesterday or today, Stephen, put it up on there. Disney, which was always, Disney's a great company, a well-run company. You may or may not like them, but they have always been a good stock in a good company because they make money. Disney's always been the number one stock that has been given as gifts during Christmas. And it makes only perfect sense. Give Mickey Mouse stock to your children or your loved ones. But this year is the first time in I don't know how long that Disney is not in number one position for the stock of choice for gifts. Do you want to know what is? Steven, drum roll. Hold on. Let me get the drums going here. What is it?
GameStop.
Yes, GameStop.
So
GameStop is the number one stock that people are giving as a gift. That's like giving your children, your grandchildren, or whoever you're giving gifts to a lump of fucking coal. Anyway.
Yes,
it is. Here's some coal. We call it GameStop. Enjoy it. You've been a bad boy or a bad girl this year.
It goes to show you though what's driving these markets. It's all just sentiment and you know and emotion, and because they're on these Reddit boards, they're on these different online forums, and just kind of these younger people are getting there like drive the stock for reasons that are completely outside of technicals or what you guys were talking about earlier with all economics and studying all the different theories and everything. And all that goes out the window when it comes to something like GameStop doing what it's done over the last year. And I want to share one other thing real fast. And Dave, you can go ahead and say what you're going to say, but I'll pull this up right now. It just goes to show you like
coal prices are going up.
This just goes to show you
are going up.
Coal's
what
probably
is
Yeah.
I mean, so look at this right here. I mean, so this was from a Reddit group, Wall Street Bets, which is one of the large ones that drives a lot of these different things that are, you know, different stocks and main stocks. And a lot of it's crypto, you know, I mean, that drives a lot of this crypto and the shit coins and things like that. But this is someone in this group said AMC was going to go to the moon last Friday. So I bought 10,000 shares, but now the price is down more than 5% since then. Can people just post anything here with zero knowledge of what they're talking about? And I feel like that just kind of sums up what's going on with a lot of these cryptos and a lot of these stocks right now.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it definitely sums it up. I mean, my God. I mean, I think Drew made a really cool comment. He says, I mean, coal prices are going up, so probably not a bad gift. Give me the coal over AMC or GameStop. And, you know, and Larry just commented, at least give them crypto, right? I agree. Like, crypto's even better than GameStop. Like, has anyone been to a GameStop? Like, all of you that are investing in GameStop, I got one question. When's the last time you actually went to a GameStop store? Like that, like I have, like, and I had a competitor that rented me to GameStop. Like, that stock ain't worth what it's going for. There is no reason that stock should be there other than a bunch of idiots with investor confidence trying to drive the price up have driven the price up, and good for them. Now the name of the game, and I don't care if it's Steven or Dave or myself or Larry or anyone else. Here's your challenge. Keep it. Keep it. That's your challenge. It's very simple. You are all so good at making money. You guys are all the gurus. You guys are so much better than we are at investing money. Keep it. All you crypto like fools out there that are piling money into shit coins and you guys are bragging left and right. We hear it all the time that you're a millionaire. Keep it. My only challenge to you, keep it, and we'll bring you on the show. Keep the money, and then you have got our attention. The problem is most of you don't know how to keep it. Most of you will give it all back and lose it all because you are playing with fire that you don't understand, but you think you're so bloody smart because you have arrived. You are now the genius. You know everything there is to know, except for one thing. You have no idea about history and what actually is about to happen to you, to all that money that you have on paper. It will all vanish. And what we're going to do actually next week, if Larry is free, we're going to bring Larry Steinhaus on from Investor Schooling. And he's pretty much the sultan of stocks and options. Sultan of options, I think, is what he goes by. The dude is very smart when it comes to options trading. So I'd love his take on it. Just like Dave probably will love having his take on it as well. That's what we do. We bring knowledge. Now, the funny thing here that I can't quite understand, we've got hundreds of people on this and nobody's commenting. Did I scare everybody away last week with my NFT animator guy that I argued with? Like, because, hey, I like arguing, but it's productive. That wasn't productive for him, but it was productive for all of you. You got a kick out of it. Is that why you guys aren't commenting? You're scared of arguing? I won't pick on you, so ask some questions. Let's hear what you have to say. The only people commenting are YouTube today. TikTok's normally really, really active with comments and things that they're saying, and today, nothing. It's weird. Anyone got anything to say?
I was just looking at my personal stock portfolio. So I do invest every single month into different equities, you know, just part of my overall investment strategy. But only about 10% of my overall net worth I keep in equities. But I'm looking at my portfolio, and I was just you were talking about the GameStop thing, and that's right. Like, that's all hype. It's all speculation, and everybody's a genius as long as the market's going up, right? So I've not bought into the speculation type of stuff. What I do invest in, though, when it comes to the equities, now I'm looking at my portfolio, 84% of my equity portfolio is in international equities. Non-US dollar denominated equities is where I park it. I just feel it's safer because I'm very bearish on the US dollar. And then 92% of my stock portfolio, my equity portfolio, is in materials. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the inflation trade, and I think things like the Build Back broker plan, or what is the Build Back Better broker, or the infrastructure bill. All of this is just going to drive material prices and make the inflation a lot worse, right? So you're bringing this big buyer to the table, all these government contracts that are going to happen with this infrastructure stuff. So I'm going heavily into the material sector. I don't day trade, I don't options trade or anything like that. It's just more of like a savings plan for me, but that's where I'm parking my money. International equities and material companies and mining and material companies.
Yeah. And our professional trader Sodi sent this over to us this morning, just how Amsterdam hits a record. They've now issued more, raised via IPOs more this year than ever in history, one of the oldest stock exchanges in the world. So, when we were talking last week, Dave, you had mentioned you're big in international. So when Sodi sent this over, I just, that kind of lines up with what you're doing. And it's interesting. I mean, why do you think Amsterdam is setting so many records like this instead of coming from blank check firms?
Well, I think internationally there's economies and countries that have much healthier economies than the US. Our economy is all propped up by debt and credit and fiat and bullshit, quite honestly. It's just so there's other countries out there with much more healthy economies, and that's where I want to put my money, so respectfully, that's why I just don't have a lot of faith in the US dollar. Where I don't think the US dollar is going to go anywhere. And like Chris was mentioning before, it's so foolish to think like, oh, the whole world's going to adopt Bitcoin or something like that. I'm not hating on the Bitcoin crowd. I'm just saying it's never going to happen. So I think the US dollar will remain the global reserve currency. Maybe I do think there will be a digital form of this global reserve currency. But I don't have a lot of faith in the US dollar. And I think when the rest of the world with more healthy economies catches on to the fact that all we do is print money, and the money that we're giving them for their production continues to go down in purchasing power, then they're basically, going to jack their prices up and not want to do business with us. We should get back to work, everybody. We outsource all of our production. We need to build factories here in this country. We need to be producers, not just print money and buy from other countries. That's the biggest problem right now. So that's why I like the international play.
And we got some good comments coming in here from YouTube. Chris Stanek, and Chris Stanek's pretty knowledgeable. Like I know of this guy. He made a mention. Quick point of reference: you're not completely accurate in your point about virtual land, Chris. Completely agree. We don't know anything about virtual land. We were sort of just ranting and joking around about it. But we definitely don't know about it. There's plenty of utility and use case providing returns while holding. I mean, Chris, I totally agree with that. We were kind of just messing around about lakefront property and oceanfront property and virtual land. But I mean, like, think about it this way. Like, imagine being able to take the DeLorean back in time and starting to buy up a bunch of domains, right? Just back in the day before people really knew what the internet was going to be. Imagine you just going in and buying Amazon and a whole bunch of names out there, just common everyday used names. That's like buying real estate. You would have become a multimillionaire, probably even a billionaire, if you were able to do that. This might very well be that. It's just, Chris, the one thing is, at a certain point, we all have to kind of pick our lane and stick in our lane and say, all right, this is what I'm going to be an expert in. And if I'm not good at anything else, I'm going to find smarter people. You might be that smarter person in that metaverse land kind of, play and how that works. I'm all about it. Like I'm your best student, man. Teach me. Like, but I was just messing around about like, let's buy some ocean.
If I may, Chris, let me push back on that a little bit, because you had compared buying virtual land to buying Amazon stock or something like that. That has nothing. They have nothing to do with each other. When you're buying stocks.
Oh no, Amazon, not Amazon stock, Amazon domain, like buying the www.amazon.com.
Okay, I understand it, but even that, it has nothing to do with like virtual land, and I'll tell you why. Because a domain name has a use case. The use is you can build a website and you can, have this as a actual domain. There's a use case to it. I don't see the use case, and maybe this gentleman Chris can enlighten us. But I don't know what is the use case of a virtual piece of property. I mean, I know you can look at it. That's like one thing you can do. You can look at it, but you can't transact. Maybe you can. I don't know if you can transact through it, but it's not like you own land that you can, grow food on. That would be a use case. That's intrinsic value. You can't live there. I don't know. So I would like to be educated as well. What is the use case of this virtual real estate? I mean, and Chris, I'm seeing your comment here. It says you spend your crypto on everyday expenses, bills, groceries, gas, etc. And I think, sometimes it's a little bit confusing. If the grocer or the grocery store or gas station is taking your crypto, and if you live in America, I don't know any grocery store or gas station that accepts money from a digital wallet. And I think what you might be referring to is a service out there like BitPay, which converts crypto into US dollars. These grocers and these gas stations, they're not taking your crypto, they're taking US dollars, which have been converted from your crypto. And this BitPay service, it is like a middleman, and they do charge a fee. So you're actually ending up a little bit behind the eight ball there.
Also, Dave, I mean, crypto a week ago was 69,000. It's right now at 56,000. So how's that?
That would suck if you were buying gas. Gas prices are going up. Your crypto is going down. I mean, it's too volatile to actually use the means of exchange. It's
how's that against inflation? Worse than inflation the U.S. dollar is facing.
I loved his statement about the virtual land and the utility, because it's brand new territory. It's like, it's like when we found America, we found all these opportunities. Well, there's probably opportunities there, but I definitely don't agree with what he was saying about using crypto for everyday purchases. And if that was the case, and you were doing that, and you bought crypto last week or traded into crypto last week, and now you need fuel for your truck, it's a fucking bad day at the pump. Okay, it's already a bad day for all of us at the pump, no matter what. Now it just got really freaking bad because of nothing that you did wrong, crypto's down quite a bit. It's a buying opportunity. I've been buying Bitcoin on the way down. So I'd love to hear the take on how you'd play the volatility in that. So many people are so worried about losing the value of their fiat dollar, the almighty dollar bill here. They're so worried about this that they're rushing to spend this. And it's just like Germany, right? They're taking this money out and they're trying to spend it, buy cars, buy anything, like wherever I can get rid of this weak dollar that's losing value to inflation, because that's what the media wants you to think and know. So you go out and you spend it, which stimulates the economy, which helps bottom line profits, which helps stocks and dividends and everything else. And it helps politicians. So in what you're doing, because you're so caught up in the fear of your dollar losing value to inflation at a rate of 6.4%, you're making even bigger mistakes by buying depreciating assets that are going to depreciate far more than the dollar ever will go down due to inflation. What you all should learn, if you're so worried about inflation, is one simple thing. Learn how to mimic what banks do. Learn how to move your money and make your money work for you. You can't lose to inflation if you understand law number 2 of wealth, and that is make your money work for you. If your money's in motion all the time, and I don't mean parking it in some stock or parking it in your Bitcoin, I mean moving your money. If you understand that, which we teach every day, including this afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time for Wealth Webinar, if you know how to move your money, inflation it's kind of a joke. It's like a clown. It's a made up number, a made up thing, because it doesn't even fucking matter. The same reason why it doesn't matter. And I'll just leave you all with this. You want to know, and I'm going to make I don't want to call it arrogant, but a statement that you all may portray as being kind of arrogant. I don't care how much money I pay for a vehicle. Okay, I can go out and overpay for a truck, a car, a G-Wagon, a Maserati. I can go out and overpay for it. You know why? Because I know how to get all the money back for every single car that I ever buy, drive, and own. And I would do the same thing with boats. And if it was planes, if I was playing at that level, I could get all the money back for planes. Because I know something that you don't. I'm informed, you're uninformed. And you can be upset with that. You can hate on that. You can play into like what they say, oh, the wealthy are bad, like they cheat the system and don't pay taxes. Absolutely not. They're just informed and you are not. And they're basically making you think that that's bad. You know what's bad? You being ignorant to the fact that you can learn exactly what they know about taxes and how not to pay them. You can be, the arrogant one and, being at that arrival syndrome where you think you know so much that you don't want to learn how to get all the money back for all the cars you ever buy, drive, and own. I can't fix stupid. I'll just give you a sign like that comedian did. Here's your sign. I'm with stupid. And that way everybody knows and nobody's upset when you actually are stupid because you got the sign around your neck that says I'm stupid. Fuck, man. Wake the fuck up, people. Like the answer's right in front of you. You're worried about inflation? Learn how to beat it. Learn how to move your money. Learn how to stay ahead of it. It's not very hard. Oh, but your answer is, I'm going to go spend all my money. And that's how I'm going to beat inflation. I feel good. Good. Here's your sign. Here's your book, too, if you want to learn, because some of you aren't stupid and you don't want to wear a sign around your neck that says, I'm stupid. So go to my website, chrisnaugle.com. Get this book for free. No strings attached. We're not going to send you a funnel. We're not going to try to sell you anything because everybody's like, oh, what are you trying to sell? Nothing. I don't want your fucking money. Okay? Here's the fucking book for free. This book will teach you how to get all the money back for all the cars you're ever going to buy, drive, and own. It's 63 pages of big text with lots of pictures because you guys want to be entertained. There it is, an Audi A8, a Porsche. You want to learn how to do it? Go to the website and get it for free. And then if that entertains you, then maybe you can come and join us for the free wealth webinar series we do every Wednesday at 1 p.m., which is on the website as well. You see, so simple. No one here is trying to sell you anything. We don't need your money. We would love to help you because that's what we do. We help people solve money problems. If you want help, we're here for you. Keep your money, invest your money, put your money in things. We'll show you how to do it. We'll show you how to move your money. We'll show you how to get all the money back for the cars that you're going to buy, drive, and own. But if you just keep with that stupid negative mindset that everybody's out to get you, you know what you should do right now? Go find a sandbox. Dig a hole, put your fucking head in it, and bury it. You're going to do us all a favor, and then I'll mail you a sign that says, I'm stupid. I'm done. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that is a good way to end it. Just a couple of reminders. Tomorrow, the markets are closed, and they close early Friday. It's kind of a slow week for the financial markets. But Dave, thanks for being here, man. Any final words of wisdom or anything else that we didn't have a chance to go over?
I think we covered a lot, and in these crazy times, the best thing we can do is honestly do things like this and stick together and share ideas and be a resource to each other. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, circling back to the beginning, it's not a red thing or a blue thing. It's us versus them, and us is all of us. So the more we can exchange resources, stick together, I think we're all going to be better off in the long run.
Awesome, man. And how can people follow you? Are you on Facebook? I follow you on Facebook, just Dave Payerchant, right? Or
I'm Dave Payerchant. You can find me on Instagram at @TheRealDaveP.
All right. Awesome. Chris, I think that was good.
All right, if you like that video, make sure you check out this video right now. And also don't forget, subscribe to my channel and don't ever forget to smash that alert button. We'll see you on the next one.